Hey everybody, I'm super excited to make this video. I've done videos in the past talking about different background colors and even gradients in Canvas, but today I'm going to show you even more tips and tricks, some more code and CSS that you can use to really optimize your Canvas pages. I know in my courses I really want to get away from the white background with loads of text on my page. I just want to get past that and give my students a little something to look at. And so today I have a lot of things to share with you. You're welcome to watch this video from beginning to end and pick up as we go along, or you can search the navigation on the timeline, and I've broken it up into chunks, and so you might want to focus on just one of those chunks and replay it a few times. Grab the code from the website, howtocanvas.com. And let's rock and roll. So we're going to start out simple here. This first interaction that I have is I grabbed an image, and this is just something from Unsplash. And so I pretty much just took a URL from an image that I had and put it on the Canvas page. And here's how I did that. So we're going to go into the HTML editor, and the whole interaction is a div. There's one big div, and then there's content within the div. And so the first thing I did is I set the style background to a URL. And the URL is the URL of the picture that I got. So again, I would just copy the image address, however you do that, and then paste in the URL in between the parentheses and the single quotation mark that you see right here. And so that's the URL. I'm essentially saying the background I want as a picture, and this is the picture that I want. And there's some other code here as well, and we're going to look at that. I'm going to hop over to a CSS editor online so that we can look at this code and see where we're at. So I have my div, I have my style set, I have a background right here, and then I put no repeat and center. I don't want the image to be repeating, and I want it to be centered. If I were to choose something like left and run that, then you can see that it's the left side of the image. And let's take a look at this image to see what we're looking at. So I'm going to go to the image. You can see it's a sweeping mountain with clouds everywhere. And I don't have the entire mountain within the image. Here I have, let's start at the left, and I can also say, let's go over to the right and run that. Now you can see that it's the right side of the mountains. I just wanted it to be center, so I don't want it to repeat. And I do want this to take place in the center, so I want to focus on the center of that image. I do want to have this code here, align items center. If I were to delete that and run it, then it just screws things up a little bit. And so it's good to have that. Also display flex. If I remove that, then it changes things up a bit and it makes it kind of funky. And so we're going to keep that display flex in there so that then I can get that effect with the div that I'm looking at next. And then justifying the content, I want that to be centered as opposed to on the right. If I run that, then you can see everything's to the right. It doesn't go right up against the edge because I do have a margin there, so I have some space, 30 pixels surrounding this. If I were to justify it to the left, then it's going to be pushed on the other side. And so I want this one to be centered. And then I put a height of 400 pixels and a width of 400 pixels, and that's arbitrary. It's a very large image, so I have plenty of space to work with. And I can easily make that 800 pixels, for example. And I can even bump this up. I could probably make this, let's put that at 600 maybe. And so I definitely, since I chose a very large image, then I have a lot of room to work with. Where's that image? Right here. The actual image, if I click on this plus button right here, you can see the image is very, very large. And when I zoom way in, then it starts getting grainy. That's fine. Just the photographer had to bump up the ISO on the camera because it's sunset. But I know that that picture is plenty big, that I have plenty to work with. So I can make the height and the width essentially what I want. Next, we're looking at the div right here. And the div is this little box that we have here. In fact, since it's so little, I'm going to go ahead and change these back down to 400 or so. And so the div is the box right there, and I have style, so background color, the RGBA is the color scheme. I put 255, and that means it's a white box. But then I put this number after here, and that's the transparency, because you can see the box, it's a white box, but you can also see through it a little bit. If I were to change this up to like an 8 or a 9, it's going to make it less transparent, so it looks more like a white box. Whereas a 2 is going to make it very transparent, and so it doesn't really look that much like a box. And so I figure 4 looks pretty good, I would say. It has a padding of 20 pixels. There's not much text in there, but 20 pixels gives me some buffer room between the text and the outside of the box there. If I were to, I'm just going to copy and paste this a few times, and so that I get more text to work with. Then you can see that box grows because I have more text. but there's still a 30 pixel buffer on the outside, and that's because I put a margin of 30 pixels. And then the text doesn't go quite to the edge because of that padding. And let's put even more text in there. Let's see what that looks like when it runs. So it just starts filling up. And if I have a lot of text, I might want to consider making this taller. For example, I could make this 800 pixels so it looks good on a cell phone. Maybe 800 is a lot, maybe 600. But yeah, I can change those properties around. And so that's my first interaction that I'm showing you today, is how to make an effect like this. A little box with an image, and then a transparent box with text in it. For my next effect, I'm going to, let's put in an HR so that we can divide the content. And then I have some code that I'm going to copy over. You can grab this from the website if you want. This time, instead of having a background image, I'm actually going to put two images, one on top of the other. And so first of all, let's hop back over to Unsplash, and I'm going to look up something like textures. I want a background image. I want the orientation to be landscape. So let's look for something that fits. Maybe this brick white wall. Here I'm going to copy the image address. So that'll be the background. And so I'm going to go to the background URL, and the second one right here where it says URL bottom, I'm going to paste in the code that I got from that white background. All right, so that's my first one. Now I want something to sit on top of that background. So if I just take a preview right now, I have some text, it's over the background, but I want to put an image on top of the text right there. So to get my image, I'm actually just going to be clever and go to PowerPoint, and I'm going to insert some stock photography. I like these stickers. I especially like the panda stickers. If you've seen a few of my videos, then you've seen me use these stickers before. And so here's a panda with some hearts. I'm going to insert that. It's very large. I don't want it that large. I want it maybe 1 inch. All right, so it's nice and small like that. I'm going to go ahead and right click and save as a picture. And the trick is that I want it to be a PNG. And by default, it's going to save it as a PNG. I don't want it as a JPEG. I want PNG because I want the background to be transparent. And by that, what I'm saying is if I were to format the background and put some kind of color back here, then you can see that the image has transparent, so I can see the background through the sides and it's not just a box that's white like that. All right, so now I am going to just put a placeholder here. We're going to insert that picture. So I'll go insert and I'm going to upload the picture. Here's my panda. Great, now I have a cute little picture, so I can go in and grab the code. So where it says source right here, that's the URL to the picture. I can delete the rest of this code right there. And I'm just going to put that URL right there. So where it says URL top, and it's going to put that panda on top of the other one. But you're going to see it's also going to repeat it a bunch of times. And so perhaps you don't want that. In fact, I do have a height here. Let's put that height at maybe 400. I'm going to make this a little bit more manageable. We're going to delete some of this text, and I'll put a width also. Maybe let's keep the width at maybe 600 pixels. All right, so it's a little bit more manageable, but still quite a lot. And the text we can monitor, we can adjust that in a little bit. But there are a couple of tricks that you can do. So first of all, this panda right here, that's the URL for that. Before the comma right here, I can put in a little bit of code. So suppose I want the panda to just appear one time in the top left corner. And so I'm going to say I want this left top, and I want it to have no repeat, which would be no dash repeat. And then when I take a look at this, you can see that panda is just right there. And maybe I want it to repeat vertically, but not horizontally. So I can say, let's repeat this on the y-axis. And now you can see the panda repeating on the y-axis. The text is bothering me just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and make this a paragraph right there, and I'm going to put in some padding. For now, I'll just put 100 pixels. All right, so I can have it repeat Y. I can also have this repeat X if I wanted to, and then it's going to repeat all along the top right there. Or maybe I want it, instead of left top, I want that to be on the right, and I want it to be on the bottom, and I want it to not repeat. Let's save that and see what that looks like. All right, so now I have my text up here, I have my little panda, and these are all background images. If I want this panda to be larger for any reason, then I would just go into PowerPoint and I would adjust it, and then when you save it, it'll save it as those dimensions. So if I double click on this, and that's about 4 inches, so let's make it an even 4 inches, and then I can save it, and it'll save it as a 4-inch panda. I went and saved it as a 1-inch panda, and so then I got it that small. Let's take a look at some gradients. I've talked about gradients in the past, and I have some other things to share with you. So let's start a new interaction. So here's some code that I'm starting with. I have, again, a div, and then we're going to do a background image, but this time we're going to do a conic gradient with colors and 100 viewport height, which will just give me 100% of the height of the screen. So to get colors, I'm going to hop over to this website that I found called uigradients.com, and let's look for one of these colors. I think, so I'm looking for gradients. This one's pretty fun right here, and so it gives me a gradient from these three colors. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and copy these individually. So I just click on this and it copies it. It copies the hex code for the far left right here, this pink fuchsia. And so it says colors. I'm now going to paste that in there. And I'm going to put a comma. And then I'm going to grab this second color. And I'm going to put that in there with a comma. And then let's grab the third one. And for now, let's just save this and see where we're at. And then it gives me this interesting gradient effect. And it's the gradient that we see here from left to right, except for now it's conic. One thing I'll notice is that there's a line right here, and if you don't want that sharp line, then what I would do is, let's go back to the edit, and I'm going to take that first color, this color that's right here, I'm going to copy that again, and we're going to end on that color. So it's going to go from 1, 2, 3, and back to 1. And we'll go ahead and save it and see the effect. So now I get a much more seamless gradient. And then I can stylize this. And so you can see that I have it as 100% of the viewport height, which means that this is going to look different if I have different viewports. So let's suppose I change this to a smaller viewport, then you can see that it changes the height of the image. And as I drag out the height, then you can see that it drags this out. And then the width would be 100% of the width as well. And so this is going to look slightly different on a mobile device screen than it would on a monitor, but it's going to have that basic effect. And I have the words here, and so I think it's really fun. Let me show you one thing real quick about that viewport height. I have it set to 100, and let's go ahead and change that to 50. We're not going to change anything else except for that viewport height. Because this is a question I do get from a lot of people, is that the width now is 100%, and you can see if I minimize the global navigation, get rid of the course navigation, it takes up the entire width of the viewport screen, but only 50% of the height. Which means if I make the viewport screen smaller here, then it's going to only be 50% of that height. So let's look at some other options. This is called a conic gradient, and let's look at a linear gradient. So I'm going to take that same color scheme, and let's go ahead and put another HR. And I'm going to put this, instead of a conic gradient, I'm just going to put a linear gradient. And let's preview that and see what it looks like. So it looks pretty bad. Let's maximize that. Now I have a linear gradient, so it goes from the top to the bottom. And I can even, probably with the linear gradient, I don't need to worry about repeating that last color. So I'm just going to take that color out of there. Great. And so, yeah, now it gives me a really fun gradient. And you notice that on this one, the gradient went from left to right, and by default, this gradient goes from top to the bottom. If you wanted it to go from left to right, then you can do that. What I'm going to do is put from the gradient here, when I have the colors, I'm just going to say to right. So I'm going to put to right and comma. So I'm establishing the direction first, and then I'm going to determine what colors do I want the gradient to be. And I'll go ahead and save that, and let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to preview it. So now it's going for that first color to the second color to the third color. If I were to change those colors, the direction of the colors without the order, and just say to left, then it's going to start on the right side with this color. The middle one will still be the middle one, and we just swap the right and the left. So as I come here, then you can see now it's going to the right, those three colors. And likewise, instead of saying to the right or to the left, I can put a number. So I can say, this is going to be 45 degrees. In fact, let me copy this and paste it, and we're going to try a couple of things. One, we're going to do 45 degrees. The other one, we're going to say to top right. So I'm giving it a direction to go to the corner. But before I do that, I need to change, instead of degrees, it's actually DEG. So that's what 45 degrees is in the code. So let's look at that. And now I can see this one's 45 degrees. So you can see it's a gradient at an angle as opposed to this one where it goes from the corner. And to really emphasize that, let's go back to the edit one more time, and I'm going to change the width to something a little bit more manageable, and then I'll replace that down below. So I'm giving us a smaller box to look at. And for now, I'm just going to take out the text so that we can really focus on the images here. In fact, let's even make this a little bit wider, maybe 600 pixels by 200, just so that we can see the difference. Now I'm going to scroll down here, and you can see them one on top of each other, that the bottom one is slightly different. Like this angle is a little bit different. However, if I were to make it so that they are similar, I would say, in width, now you can still see this is about 45 degrees or so, and this one goes from the bottom left, and it seamlessly goes from the top right. This top one just cares about the 45-degree angle, and it doesn't care if it goes from bottom left to top right. If it was a perfect square, then it would be about the same as the bottom one. Now let's go ahead and change from 45, and let's look at another thing, which is repeating gradients. So that could be interesting as well. So I'm going to hop back over to an editor here, and I want to show something which is repeating linear gradients. So if I run this, it doesn't look any different than a regular gradient. It's going from left to right, and these are the three colors that it's choosing from. However, I can assign values to those. So with the code repeating linear gradients, I could say I want this color, the middle color there, to make a stop at about 10%. This other color will make a stop at 20% or so. And then I have the repeating on, and so what it does is it takes, so 20% is 1/5 of the width. And so that last color is marked at right at 1/5, so 20%, and then since it's repeating, I have another 20% and another 20%, which is 20, 40, 60, 80, and then 100%. So it just repeats. This first color will be on the left, that's value 0, and then the second color is 10%, so that's 1/10, and then this third color is 20th, and then it just repeats after that, then it goes back to 0 again. So I know this can be hard to understand, but let me scrub away some of this. So I'm going to change this from repeating linear to a radial gradient, which means it's going to go from the inside out. And here, if I were to delete all of these variables right here, these values, the percentages, then it just goes from that first color to the second color to the third color. But perhaps I want this one to be specifically at 10%. And then you can see that happens very early on. And let's make these a little bit more dramatic. Let's call this red, yellow, and green. And so I can really see the differences there. And the yellow right now, the yellow by default, it's 50% because it's right in between. The green would be at 100%, so it's right at the edge. The red is 0%, and then the yellow would be right in the middle. But I can change that yellow to perhaps 20%. And so now the red goes from 0% to 20%, then we have the yellow, and then a seamless gradient over the last 80% to the green. However, I could make the green 50% if I wanted to. So let's run that. And now you can see green is right at the halfway mark. And if I wanted the yellow, I can make that 40. So just tinker around with the numbers. And even the red, I could move it out from the center to, I could say that takes place at 20%. So now I have 20, 40, and 50. And maybe that's a little bit harsh, so I'll put green out at 80, and so it smooths it out a little bit. And yellow I can put at 50. And so you can just play around with those values. And so that's how this radial gradient, the radial gradient also works in Canvas. I would probably choose one of these softer gradients if I were doing that personally. Let's take a look at this evening sunshine. That one caught my eye as well. And so let's change these values to, first we'll have this value, and then the second value is the blue. So it's real classy. And then I could put some text in there. So let's put some text, and since it's pretty dark, I'm gonna put the style as white color. And we'll go ahead and run that, and now I have my text in there with the radial background. So thanks for sticking with me. I know this was a lot to go over, and I hope that you review the content that's appropriate for you. And this was a really fun tutorial for me to create for you. Another one that I really like is called Dynamic Images in Canvas. I'm going to put the link right over there, and I suggest you check it out because it's really fun to change the images based on the screen size. If you think that this was useful for you, go ahead and give me a super thanks. It really helps me and encourages me to continue creating this content. And until next time,
Happy digging and running.